All right, now we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. So today we are doing a live discussion / rant, mostly rant, for the book Carols and Chaos. Carols and Chaos. And I have a lovely guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
But my name is Star. I run the channel One Star Reads. So yeah, would you like to introduce yourself, Emmy?
I also have a link to your channel down below. If anyone is interested, you should go check her out. And I am Emmy from Emmy Rose Reads. If most of you probably here will know, but if you're new, hello. I'm awkward, so that's something to know about me. So yeah, I guess we should just get right into the discussion, and what we thought about this book. General thoughts. I think. Oh, and there's my dog who's barking.
Oh, so this is the beautiful book that is just full of lies and it's not good at all. That's basically it.
Basically sums it up.
The door.
Sorry, what?
That's your dog.
Yeah, he's trying to get out. Hopefully somebody's coming.
Boom.
You hear the dog. He's trying to escape. I'm trying. Okay, Benji, come on. Hey, Benji, do you want to be? Hey. Excuse me. Okay, there we go.
That's so adorable.
Okay, he's gone. My sister just got him.
Bye, Ben.
Anyway, so general thoughts. We didn't like the book.
It's this cover is beautiful, but it's full of lies.
It really is. Don't judge a book by its cover, especially in this instant.
Especially like usually it goes the other way around. You know, like you're judging it badly of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cover full of lies.
It really is. So and it's usually like I'm a very easy person to like impress, and there's usually something I find in a book enjoyable. Like I'll like, oh, I can see why people wouldn't. Usually I'm okay with it, but like I can't think of anything about this book that I like besides the cover.
That's pretty sad. I'm a very critical reader. Like I'm pretty much the exact opposite. And I can tell you, I really hated this book. I just dislike it to a very certain extent, like a very strong extent, actually. We actually read this book for a buddy read during this month, which was kind of
very fun.
We were having a lot of trouble trying to figure out like, well, what's a Christmassy read that we could read, during the Christmas month, make it like, make it associated with like Christmas, I say Christmas like 5 times in this sentence. But like we were having trouble, and I think this was already on your to be read list.
I was interested. It wasn't like my super high priority, but I was interested in it because I heard about it. And like I tend to like historical fiction, and like I like a little bit of romance. So I was interested in it.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, it's just $8 on Amazon, and you could find it in your local area, so that was easy.
Yeah.
I find it so funny that like literally we were talking about it before December 1st. It was like November 25th, something like that. And as soon as December 1st like came, I walk into Walmart and I see like every book is Christmas themed. Granted, they're probably not better than this. Like most of the books were like cowboys without their shirts on with abs and stuff. I don't think we would have read that. But it's kind of a fun thing,
Yeah.
Kind of fun. All the Christmas books came out in December, so I don't know if we would have found something better. But anyways, we read this book.
Yeah. So I generally like going in like before you started reading it. What did you expect to like it? Did you kind of have low expectations going in, or?
So my thing is that I'm not a very romance oriented. I read a lot of fantasy and I read a lot of thrillers and stuff. I've never really got along with the romance genre. This kind of shows kind of why, but I just never found like a romance book I truly love. So like I was going into it like, okay, maybe this will be the romance book that gets me into like the whole genre. It's just I'm giving it a chance. I didn't really like super expect to love it or anything, but I was giving it a chance. What about you? What did you expect?
I usually I like historical fiction, and like I'm pretty like it depends. I like romance. I don't like pure romance stories. But like I like Pride and Prejudice and like, historical romances. So I was like, I think I'll like it, but like I looked at the reviews. It has like a 3.5 on Goodreads. And then like sorry, what was that?
Like the reviews are like from 5 different people.
Yeah, there wasn't very many reviews. It had low ratings. So when I got it and like I started, I was just like, I didn't really have that many expectations. So it didn't disappoint. It sucked, but I kind of expected it to suck. So
like when you first started reading it, for me, when I first started reading it, like I opened the book and I got to like surprisingly 40 pages because like when somebody's motivating me to read, I'll read. But when I was reading it, I at like a certain point I had just started skimming. Like it was really boring. I didn't know if I didn't know if that was just me because I'm just not like a romance reader and I didn't like the build up, or it was just like genuinely boring.
It was genuinely boring because I skimmed. I don't know. I feel like it was less than 50 pages. But like at a certain point, like I was right. Like I kind of was just like, okay, I would definitely DNF it at this point, but I'm determined not to because like all of my other buddy reads have been DNFs. Like I didn't DNF it, but the other person always DNF'd it. So I'm like, I'm determined to finish this book. And so I just ended up skimming it. So I paid more attention at certain areas that was just like, what the heck, or like that might be interesting. But for the most part, I just kind of like skimmed it and like I skipped some pages because like,
you skipped
which I think,
damn.
I don't know if I skipped a ton of them, but sometimes I would just kind of like read a few words here and there, which I think also goes towards the writing because if I could like skip a ton, like multiple paragraphs and still get the main idea of what was going on, that probably means it's a little wordy.
Yeah,
a little too descriptive.
and then I'll get into it later, but I've like sectioned off a few pages. Like I have like a few notes where like she repeats words and repeats sentences and stuff. Like I don't think on purpose.
Yeah.
Like there was one like I was gonna do like we were talking about this earlier, but there's the scene in the book where like pistols kind of come out of nowhere, but like just the sentence that she wrote is like Roland too had a pistol in his hand. It too was pointed at Matt. Like she does that a lot, like repeating words and repeating sentence structures, and it's kind of annoying when you notice it.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta stop that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, did we like introduce who this was written by?
I don't think we did.
Sorry. But it's written by Cindy Anstey.
Okay.
So apparently, like, I think what's going on here is that she has several books that are kind of set around the same time period, same area, same characters, but each book focuses on different characters.
And some of you might have heard of her other book because I know Suitors and Sabotage is her other recent book, and that was in Owl Crate, I think. It was in a subscription box, so it kind of went around a little bit. So you might know her from that.
I think I like the idea of just like, focusing on different characters for each of the books. It's a great idea. But she did the exact same thing with her characters that she did in this book and like the previous book, then she's not really handling this idea well. I don't think so.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
So I guess sorry, were you about to say something?
No, you want to start at the beginning?
I would say since we're already kind of on the topic of the writing style, do you want to just kind of go into that?
Yes, I have notes.
All right. You probably have more notes than me, so you should start off and I'll kind of bounce off you.
Writing style. Well, I already said she repeats stuff a lot, and it's kind of annoying. It's definitely very wordy, and I wouldn't say like her writing is specifically very bad. It's just I don't think she has a point to much of the things she writes. So like things are kind of
is a sign to the author. She should just get to the point.
I mean,
sorry.
Honestly, if we're taking like how much legitimate story there is in this book, it would be like half the book because the actual main plot doesn't start until halfway through the book.
Yeah.
So there's so much fluff in this book. There's so much that it's just kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And then there's like this kind of like shies away from the writing and more into like her characters and stuff. But there's insta love in this book.
Sorry, I hate insta love.
I thought you legitimately choked on something. I was like,
no, no, sorry.
But no, yeah, there's like a serious insta love in this book. Like right at the beginning, they like these characters, as far as I know, like apparently they know each other, but it doesn't really like show it in a way where it's like, oh, we can legitimately believe that these people have met each other before because they're like insta loving each other right at the beginning. Like, oh yeah, look at his hair, the most handsome Matt Harlow, if that's his name. I keep forgetting their names. I had to look it up right as we were starting the podcast because I didn't remember these guys' names. They were so boring.
It was a mess.
Yeah, this book is a mess. Oh man. And yeah, so like the main plot doesn't start until halfway through the story. And you said it yourself, like you thought the author realized there needed to be something happening in the book. So like midway through the book, she throws in like Johnny getting kidnapped and stuff.
Oh yeah, and I guess we should start like I don't know if anybody is gonna read this book, but there's gonna be spoilers. That should probably go to tell, but just in case, warning here, spoilers.
After we already spoiled a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. That's kind of like the comment I made where it was like, it's not entirely like awful writing, like it's bearable, but it was very wordy and descriptive. And usually I like flowery descriptive writing, but like this wasn't even like that beautiful to say. So very wordy, very boring.
And plus the story didn't help.
Yeah.
There was hardly a story to begin with.
Yeah.
Oh man. I guess we should start at the beginning. Like we're getting into the plot at this point.
Yeah.
So we should
go into plot.
When I started the book, okay, I'll refrain from actually like reading the book to you guys because you'll get bored pretty quick. But you feel me. But like the first 2 paragraphs start out with this description of what I assumed when I started reading to be like a man, like legitimately a person. And it wasn't until she said the word bull that I realized she was talking about an animal. Like her descriptions sometimes are like I get there was like some suspense of like wondering like what is she talking about, you know? Like sometimes authors do that. They describe things in a way that you're like you know, like she's setting up the tone. She's kind of like I don't really know how to describe it, but do you kind of get what I mean?
Yeah.
This was not a very good description of a bull. I can tell you, like, I thought this was a person, like a human being. And when she said the word bull, I was like, what are you talking about? What even is this story? That should have been the warning sign at the beginning. Like, there were like alarm bells in the back of my head, and I was going, maybe I should be a little bit worried. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't think this book was going to be bad, to be honest. But yeah. So right off at the beginning.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Continue finish what you were saying.
No. You continue. I didn't really have a point to that.
Yeah. So. I definitely agree. Like, that was just like weird to me, and like that's what I say. Like after the first chapter, I'm like I probably wouldn't have continued. But I think that's a problem. Like kind of going into like the plot thing. I feel like that's a thing that a lot of romance novels struggle with is like having a decent plot. With like the romance going on and stuff. So I think that definitely suffered. This book suffered with that as well.
That's usually the problem I have with many romance novels. It's like they have the romance, and I wouldn't say like the romance is bad, but then they have like a really interesting plot, which they kind of throw to the side, and you're wondering, well, if this is happening, why are we spending time on the romance? This is like really important. We shouldn't be focusing on that. But honestly, this one didn't really have a plot. Yeah. So I don't really feel like it applies to this book.
Yeah.
I would say, so right at the beginning, let me see what I sectioned off here. Let's see. There are points. So right at the beginning, after she ran through a field, apparently she was trying to attract the main dude's attention. He was going off of a wrong road. I'm trying to explain it, but this is about as much information as we get when we started reading.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like in one sentence, she's telling us, oh, Matt went down the wrong road and Kate went into a field and is trying to, stop them from going down the wrong road. That's basically how much information we got. So that's the synopsis of the beginning of the chapter. And right at the beginning, they're already insta-loving each other. So apparently Kate hadn't seen Matt for a long time. That's what I'm reading right here. Kate hadn't seen Matt for a long time, so her memory had not played her wrong, not embellished the appealing aspects that was the steeple valet. I'm like, already insta-love. Already, like, it's already pretty bad.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything from the beginning of the story
That's the the first thing that I noticed was like the insta love, and like I'm okay, like if it's like, oh, like attraction, like I'm okay with that, but most of the time it's like they're immediately like willing to die for each other, and like that's when like the insta love like bothers me so much. And so like we don't, and I think also the fact that like she hasn't seen him for a long time kind of lends to the insta love fact, because like, oh yeah, they knew him, but like they haven't seen each other for months, so why would they like
we don't get a solid, like, we're not really solid in their relationship at the beginning. We know nothing about them. So as far as we know, they could have like hated each other before they saw each other again. And now, like, I think a chapter later, when it's from Matt's point of view, real quick, like personal opinion, I actually dislike it when I read books from differing point of views. That's just me. I feel like it just kind of like messes with my brain a little bit. But when we're reading from Matt's point of view later in the book, he's already like staring at her hips and stuff and like getting distracted by her face and stuff like that. And it's like two chapters in. We don't, you guys, what? Like, I'm wondering if in the book before this, Suitors and Sabotage, maybe there had been, well, I don't trust the author to actually do that, something this smart, but if there had been if there had been a little bit of show that like Kate and Matt were getting along in the background, I don't know. I'm not willing to read the story to find out, but I'm just wondering, because it feels like fan fiction, right?
Yeah.
You want to explain?
Badly written fan fiction.
Yeah. Man, it's just, so it feels like there are a lot of characters in this book. Like, there are people in the manor, there are the maids, there are the workers, there are the people they're serving, and then many people in the town. And they're just kind of shown to us like we already know them. Almost. They're never really given proper descriptions, or I mean, they're kind of described, but they're never given like proper, like made into a character. They're never made into a character. It's just always, it's just like we're thrown in, kind of like bad fan fiction.
And like, I understand like if there is another book with the similar characters and like we get to know them there, but like you were kind of saying earlier, like if it's supposed to be a standalone, and if you are like allowing, because it doesn't say anything anywhere on Goodreads that this is like related to a book. So it should stand on its own. It should have introductions to the characters that aren't in this book. Like it should build that up, which it doesn't. So that's why, like, that's what bothers me.
So all of the characters are pretty much like that. Even our two main characters, they're not built up in any way. They're just,
there's no character development, like no substance to any of them besides the fact that they like each other.
Yeah, they're boring. And I would actually say, like, I kind of like when they're talking to each other. Like, it seems like the author thought that stuff through, but everything else was kind of like, it's not there. There's nothing there. I don't know. Like, so basically, the first half of the book, like, I sectioned it off for us. So this much of the book is just like Kate and Matt running around and doing stuff, basically. This half is when we actually start getting to the plot. So that's page like 122.
And take in mind that this is a shorter book too. So
this is like, how much is this book? It's like 316 pages. So it took her 122 pages to reach the plot, basically. That's really a long time. that was so that's a little bit problematic. You're really left in the beginning like, where is this going, honestly?
Mm-hmm.
There are a few things that are happening, like Kate's mom. I don't know. Why is she in the story?
I want to know. She's just annoying and has nothing, does nothing for the book. Doesn't help in the plot at all, and she's just annoying.
This actually kind of like ties into the writing a little bit. It was one of the problems I
Yeah.
had, is that a lot of the times when Cindy Anstey is trying to make a plot point happen, like something happened in the story, she'll start it at like the beginning of a chapter, or it'll just like randomly happen and it'll kind of leave you confused.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd say the first one is the bull, like
Mm-hmm.
randomly starting with the bull, and then like when her mother first calls her with like the young runner boy,
Mm-hmm.
like when that first happened, it was like, wait, what's happening? Is something really desperate happening?
I
Kind of
hate that
crazy.
so much.
And then I have a few other moments where it happened. I wrote them down.
That annoyed me because it's like you think something's actually wrong, and like you're, like what the heck is going on, and then like just for her to be like, oh, I wanted to like see you, like blah blah blah. I'm like,
that was
why?
annoying, but also because it was completely pointless.
Yeah.
And then there was another point I was thinking of, that there was another time when her mom came to the house, to the manor,
Mm-hmm.
get some wheat
Yeah.
for like food. And then like
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of ham-fisted, like literally told to us, not shown, that by her mom coming here, she had given disgrace to Kate. It was literally written out in a sentence, like she had disgraced Kate by coming here, and now the whole manor was going to talk about Kate because she doesn't feed her mom and stuff. It was like, well, that's some ham-fisted historical development, character development moment. I it was just it's like it's a moment. There's like a moment where that happens and it's completely out of nowhere. It just feels so random to the whole story, and it's before the Johnny thing. I think I can't even remember, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure it was before Johnny. I don't know. But yeah, and more for the plot, like another thing that really bothered me, just the fact that it was like boring was like my biggest complaint, but kind of looking back on it, nothing felt authentic to the time period, which really annoyed me. Like just the way the characters acted, the characters' names, and like there's obviously like historical comments and things that are thrown in there, but just nothing felt authentic. And like me being a really big fan, like I love history, like I love historical fiction, and so just like having that just like bothered me. So that also kind of lends to the feeling like bad fan fiction, because it just felt like she just picked a random time period and it was just like, oh, like I know a little bit about this, like some general facts, let me just throw this in here and throw these characters that feel very modern. And just
like, oh yeah, continue.
Yeah, and just like the way, I think you made this comment too when we were talking before or some other time, was just like the romance. I literally just lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. The romance, like the way, this is embarrassing. I was making a point here. The romance, just like the way the romance was just like felt very like unauthentic and modern.
Like,
oh god.
two girls like Matt and Kate probably wouldn't be kissing in the like
yeah okay, that's the point I was making.
Like
yeah
that was weird.
And like the kissing scene, because like there's like a scene where there's a scene where they're kissing like in the middle of the hall, and then like you said, there's a scene where they're like kissing in front of people. I'm like, maybe like they would, people are people, like they would probably do things that aren't like normal to society, but like they aren't gonna like make out in front of people or like near people.
But they did.
And so just like that bothered me. Like it just felt like a very modern romance in this time period, which bothered me.
Yeah,
and
no,
like,
that was
and like
weird.
Yeah. And like a time period where like touching hands is like a huge deal, and like, this whole thing where like you have to court and like you like all this stuff. So that like bothered me. It just felt very unauthentic.
You've put more thought into it than the author already.
Literally.
Like, let me write this book. Right there. So one thing that really bothered me about the time period that kind of like ruined it for me was that so like when Kate and Matt are around the people they serve, they're so nice. Like
Yeah.
they're not. It's almost like they're not even serving them. It's like Kate
Yeah.
is doing a favor for. I think like the person she's serving is Miss Imogene or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, so like there's a time when Kate gets distracted and kind of like ruins her hairstyle, and Imogen is like, "Oh, it's fine, don't worry, I'll go for something simpler." And then like right afterwards, she invites her out to go like pick the Yuletide log or something. I don't another ham-fisted historical moment. I don't even
Yeah.
know. I don't even know. So
And we
there's
all know, like, most people in that time period are not nice to their servants.
no, why
Like,
would
they
they?
don't treat them like humans.
No, they don't. And it was I don't know. It's just super silly, and
Yeah.
it was just I can't even like explain my anger towards it because
Yeah.
it's just what is there to explain? There's no depth to it. It's just once you've said the little there is to say about it, there's nothing more
Yeah.
when it comes to that. And then just like the whole servants, like everybody seems to be like doing whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the fact that Kate and Matt were able to go and search for Johnny
Mm-hmm.
without really any repercussions,
Yeah.
like
And, like,
don't
there's, like, a few
you know?
comments of, like, Johnny's, like, I think repercussions for Johnny of, like, losing his job or something, but, like, nothing.
Nothing for the people who actually still have their jobs.
Yeah.
That
Which
was
is, like, ridiculous. So,
oh,
like, I don't know. Because, like, I can understand, like, of course, there's going to be people that are nice, like, back in the day that would treat their servants with respect, but, like,
they
I
treat
don't
them
know,
like
just the
they
way
treat
that, yeah,
it doesn't seem right. And the fact
yeah,
that most of the people who were being served are just like so fun and happy and carefree,
yeah,
and then like suddenly out of nowhere, like Kate and Matt seem to have this really intent like to do their job. Like
yeah,
they take it so seriously.
yeah,
It felt really jarring and strange for their character.
yeah,
I was wondering maybe if she was trying to imply that like both Kate and Matt take their lives very seriously and they take their
mhm,
jobs seriously and they're working for the same person and there's like a little bit of correlation there. But she didn't handle it well.
yeah,
So I don't know. That was just my view of it.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
and yeah, so just very unauthentic, and also the plot that happened. Like, I guess we can talk about like the huge like plot twist, the main plot. I don't even know what to call it. The whole kidnapping thing, um, with like Johnny, because like that also leads to like not even like not even to like time period unauthenticity, but just like it felt so unauthentic to the book because like the rest of the book is very light and airy and
Yeah.
like fun, and then you get into this very serious like people are getting kidnapped, there's guns involved, like
But
what the
there's
heck.
no, it was such this is like this book is tone deaf kind of.
Yeah,
So man, so how did it happen exactly? So Johnny got a fake coin for something that he was going to use to buy chocolate or something for a girl he liked.
something like that. Like he sold his ring to get it, and he got a fake coin because he was going to buy something for a girl he likes. um and then he finds out that it's not real and he's very angry about it. And
And
so he
this
goes on the search to find the person to like get payback and get his
like
ring back.
has red hair, right? I remember that much.
Yeah, something like that.
And then like as it turns out, the only person with red hair in the whole like town is the butcher, and it's one of his family members that actually did it.
Coincidence? I think not.
Wow, this is good storytelling, guys.
Ugh.
So yeah, so there that happened, and yeah, so it's like it's kind of like split down the middle. There's like the light, airy stuff, and then there's like this horrific thriller where people, yeah, the kidnapping, the gagging, the pistols, this over the top villain. Shall we talk about Roland?
Oh, please do.
First off, first off, Roland, like, was there no other name? Was there no other name? Bob would have been better, honestly.
Oh,
Roland. He was okay, guys. This guy was so over the top. Like, um, let's just talk about when we first met him, okay? So Kate and Matt get stuck like outside the cottage of the butcher's house, right? Because they're snooping around there. I can't exactly remember why. It wasn't very interesting. I was skimming anyways. But they're outside and then they get like trapped by the butcher. This dude named Niven who's like a wine merchant, I think. And then there was like I think
And his assistant or something. I don't know. Was
I
that?
don't know. There's some guy. But there's Roland, red-haired dude. I think he's like the cousin of the butcher, and he's like he came out of nowhere. I don't even know where this guy came from. So, uh, well, first things first, like bad writing right off the bat. Pistols kind of come out of nowhere. I don't remember like when they had the pistols, but it says like Roland too had a pistol, and that too was pointed at Matt. I'm like, where did the pistols come from? First off. So, anyways, they go into the house, and Roland is like licking his lips and being super evil, and like you remember this, don't you?
Yes.
One of the best scenes in the whole book. So
Like that just creeped me out, honestly.
why
And
were you
like
licking
you,
your lips? Oh my
I don't like you were saying, like when we like first met, like the just comment like just a villain to be a villain. Like there was no substance to like why he was being so villainous.
I don't
And
know.
like and it was amplified because the other half of the book is so light and airy. And
Yeah.
so it was just like what the heck. And like usually like I don't like I like darker things, like I like to read darker books with like darker like subject matter, but like this just did not fit at all with what the rest of the book was trying to get at.
Oh
And
my
just the villain, a
Let's do
mess.
a moment of silence, please.
Please,
Oh my god.
just a
So
moment
like
of silence for the time wasted reading this book.
I can't believe this is actually one of the books I finished. Like knowing me, I read like 10 books a year. This is one of the books I finished.
At least we suffered together. At least we have this live stream. That's the one hope that this book brought.
So like I would like to talk about the wording she used when describing Roland. Like when he walks, he saunters. He doesn't just walk, he saunters. So
Gotta add
that
some weird
word.
descriptive word in there.
Oh man, she's definitely one of those writers who goes like looks at a thesaurus to like find a new word every single word. Like, you know, you can use walk every other sentence, but no, she doesn't do that. She like finds a thesaurus and looks up a different word for it. So it's like very wordy, and you can tell it's kind of cool. Yeah. So, anyways, we have Roland here, a skinny redhead dude with a pistol that came out of nowhere, you know, the author's brain. And he saunters and he licks his lips. And then there was like the whole scene where like
Envisioning this and it's not a good sight.
so there's a whole scene where he basically explains the plot. Like it's just a monologue where he explains like what happened. There's no intrigue, there's no nothing. It's just like
Yeah.
like the characters are kind of aware of it, and like just because your characters are aware of it doesn't make it okay. So Niven, the wine merchant dude, is like accidentally lets it slip that they're doing something with coins, and like the butcher's like, wait, watch your tongue, don't say anything. And then it's like Roland says it doesn't matter and just like spills the whole plot. Just one long paragraph telling us what's happening and why Johnny got kidnapped and everything. Oh, by the way, what happened to Johnny was he managed to escape. And guess where we find him at the end of the book? After like, I don't know, 4 or 5 chapters of just looking for him. He's at the mom's house. The most that's the only reason the mom was there is because Johnny had to be there. That's the only reason. That's the only reason she's in the book. But anyways, do you know how much time is wasted on Roland? Like, it's insane.
And
So,
like the whole like plot of it was that they're like having a legal fake coin making business. Wasn't that what was going
stupid.
on? Like what? Come on, be like
3 people running a counterfeit money scheme? Really? Really?
Like, if you're gonna have this like super like weird dark like kidnapping scene, like make it like a darker thing. Like, again, it's just it's so all over the
he's so
place.
over
And
the
like
top for like a money laundering scheme. Like that's so over the top.
like
And
it's
like kidnapping Johnny and there's blood on the ground and like shit like that. I'm like, what? Oh man. And then so what happens is Kate and Matt, so they get gagged, they get tied up, and Roland and Niven kind of and the butcher like put them in a wagon, and they're like driving out of town, and they need to get saved somehow. So the whole wagon gets stopped by this like traveling, I don't know, like circus thing. Not circus. It's like
a traveling show or something.
talent show, yeah. And then
Acrobat, I don't know. Oh no, it wasn't acrobat. So it was like a legit like theater
it was
show.
like a Christmas show. And like apparently Kate recognizes one of the characters or like one of the people who are speaking. Hold on, let me pull up this person's name just so we can have the reveal ready because this is beautiful. Um so yeah, like Kate starts like kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, somebody yelled at me. Kate starts like kicking the door or like kicking the mat to like get their attention. It does, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they pull back the covers. And Kate sees this person who is her brother's friend. By the way, we never meet her brothers, and we never knew this person before. So they pull back the covers, and Kate smiles despite her gag because she sees her good friend, the friend of her brother, the person who has come to save them, Jeremy Bullfinch Wiggins. Who the fuck is Jeremy Bullfinch Wiggins? Who is this?
It gets funnier every time.
I'm so, like that's basically how much introduction. Like what? Who is this? I don't. So yeah, that just kind of ruined the story for me right there.
Yeah.
You know, Jeremy Bullfinch Wiggins. Like I couldn't take it seriously after that. It just went down the drain. Like any semblance of respect or like just thought that was put into this book.
1 ounce of respect that we had just
And
gone.
after that, I was just skimming. Like after that,
Yeah.
it was just so like no, like after that, I think that's only two. That's only page 241. So
What
you have
even
like
happens? Like, what's the point after that?
I don't know. It's just like a good 60 pages of them trying to find Roland. So they go back to the manor. I think at that point they go back to the manor, and
With their jobs intact.
they haven't found Johnny yet. I don't think at this point. So they're still out looking for them. Somebody sends out like hounds and stuff, and for some reason, Kate and also Matt go out into the forest. Not for like lovey-dovey stuff. They just like both go out into the forest for some reason, and Kate finds Roland, and like Roland kidnaps her, and like Matt chases him down, and then there's this whole like crazy river scene happening where like Kate almost gets thrown in the water, and then Matt almost gets thrown in the water, and then Roland actually gets thrown in the water, and then they go save Roland. And I would like to point out that Roland like basically does not talk throughout that whole thing. Like after like the whole river scene, Roland never talks again. He never talks. And like even after like they save him because they're good people, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But they Roland gets taken to her mom's house where they find Johnny, of course. That was just ridiculous. Like that's basically
Of course Johnny would be there.
Of course he would be there, propping up his little feet. But yeah, no, her mom kicks Roland out of the house, and we never hear like he's basically tied to a pole outside the house or something, and like we never hear Roland's side of the story. He's just like a villain. He was just like a over the top crazy villain that licks his lips and saunters everywhere. I don't. What was that's it. There's no ending to the story. It's
Literally.
just stupid.
Ugh.
It's so unsatisfying.
Because I finished the story, and like because I was skimming it, I was just like, oh, like, okay, it was a bad book. Like, I'm never gonna think about it again. Like, it's not that important. Like, the more we've been talking, and like the more I think about it, like the angrier it makes me. And I'm like,
It's a waste of time. This is not a satisfying book. There is nothing new to this story. There's no depth to it. It's just there's nothing. The only good thing about it, I would say, is the cover. It's cute.
Literally.
It's light.
The only thing.
The only thing. I think Jeremy Bullfinch Wiggins kind of also. It's pretty awesome, but
not worth the 300 and whatever pages of suffering.
Oh my gosh! So yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Basically. Just no substance. The characters also.
Man. How long has it been? Oh wait, no, continue.
I'm like a very character-driven person, so like usually if the plot is like lacking and I really like the characters, like I'm gonna rate the book a higher rating. But like the characters
you gave it 1 star.
No substance whatsoever.
You gave it 1 star, didn't you?
1 star. 1 star.
I gave it 2 because that was nice. I was trying not to be mean. I gave it 2.
Like 2 for me is like, oh, it was mostly a bad book, but here's like a few things I liked about it. And then 1 star is just like it sucked. And like, I think the only other book I've given 1 star, I think I gave Persuasion 1 star, but I didn't even finish that because Persuasion by Jane Austen was boring as heck. Unpopular opinion, but yeah. And then I think this one other book called Daughter of the Centaur that I read years ago, but I think even that I gave like 2 stars. I think I gave it 1 star. That was like the first book I ever DNF'd and the first book I actually like legit hated. So
the 1 stars I saved for like Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. Hate that series, by the way. Burn it.
Oh my god.
Have you read that?
I haven't. My siblings used to be really into it. I like this. Like, I haven't seen the whole Netflix show, but like I liked what I saw of it. But
I heard the Netflix show is really good.
Yeah, but it's like pretty accurate to the book. So if you hate the
not
book,
really.
Probably
not really. Like it's accurate in the way that it'll take like the characters, and it takes like each episode will take like the book or like the scene from the book. That's my dog, by the way. But it actually adds a plot to it.
Okay.
So that helps.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, should we like say anything else about Carols and Chaos? Do we want to hate it anymore?
Do we have any? I think you've basically gone over everything.
I thought you were asking, like, do you have any kerosene? Just burn the book.
Please. Like, I'm not about burning books, but if I was to burn 1 book, I know which one I would pick. I think that was legit. Yeah. I think that was the other video I mentioned it, and I did the Christmas song book tag, and I think one of the questions is like, what book would you burn to keep warm on a cold night or something? And I literally said that.
Perfect for you.
It's Christmas themed, so it goes with the whole Christmas feel.
I would like to like read the back of this. First off, the back is cute and pretty. Like, look at this. It's so decorative. Such lies. But like, it's like it has such a nice back cover. It's like England, 1817. The happy chaos of the Yuletide season has descended upon the country estate of Shackleford Park in full force, but lady's maid Kate Darby barely has the time to notice. Like, it starts out really cute. The back is really nice. The book is full of lies. It's just really, was she a lady's maid? Like, I hardly even noticed.
She's supposed to be, I think, but yeah, that one scene of her like helping dress the ladies, messing up her hair.
Otherwise, and like even after that, she doesn't get punished for it. It's like, hey, come outside with us.
Yeah.
And we'll ham fist some historical stuff into it. You know.
Quality.
So I'm guessing, like, for me at least, I'm never gonna read anything Cindy Anstey again unless it's like New York Times bestseller, stuff.
I'm kind of tempted to see if it does bad as this one, because they have higher ratings. Like, I think her Duel and Deceptions series or book has like a 4 something rating.
Yeah, I have learned not to do 4-star ratings.
Yeah.
Here's what matters. Like, does it have a 4-star rating with like at least 200 people behind the rating?
That's true.
Yeah, it's the amount of people doing the ratings, not like yeah. And plus, I don't really trust Goodreads anymore. It's
yeah.
it's a little bit biased.
Yeah. I can
So
see that.
that was our Christmas buddy read.
Yeah. Hopefully, if we do another buddy read, it's better than this.
We could do like a Valentine's buddy read.
Yeah, except you don't like romance. I mean, I guess we could try and find something without romance, but
no. You could do romance, and then we could have like possibly different opinions. Maybe that'll be the one that'll open my heart up to romance.
Yeah. See, like, I don't know any good like romance books though, because like I don't like pure romance either that much. That's why I don't really like contemporary that much. Like the contemporaries I do usually deal with like harder topics. There has to be some other kind of substance to it. Cause like I like romance in my books that have like substance.
And like it's kind of hard to find though. Like a lot of books. I don't know. The one that comes to my brain is like Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know several of my friends. Like one of my friends did a review on it, and she was like, "Wow, this like the story outside of the romance is actually really interesting. I wish they like focused on that."
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. A lot of romance stories tend to like throw the plot to the side, which is pretty sad.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
One day. Maybe we'll find something that's actually good.
Please, but maybe not because it's fun to rant review stuff.
No, see, like I feel like there are better. Like this isn't even a good rant review book.
Yeah.
Like there are better books that have like actual like tried to do something deep but didn't, and you could like laugh about it. Yeah. This isn't deep. It's got nothing. It's like a very bland book. It's just bland.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well.
There's my dog.
I hear a wolf. All right. Well,
anyway.
We talked about this for about 47 minutes. That's pretty long time.
Do you have any other comments? I think we basically went over everything.
I will be giving this a full 1 star on
a
few minutes.
As you can't tell by our comments that we've made, we both hate the book, so 1 star.
I'll probably post this live stream onto Goodreads so people can see it.
Yes.
That'll be wonderful. Anyways, so yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. It was fun. I hope it was entertaining, even though none of you probably have read this book.
I just talked for like hours or minutes of just like, there's this problem and there's this problem and there's this problem.
That's sad when you can't even find one good thing about a book.
There really isn't anything.
There's nothing.
I'm not gonna say it's straight up Wattpad fan fiction because
there's some good fan fiction that I've read on Wattpad.
But like also like there's either like good
that I would much rather have published than this.
Oh, apparently there's a movie called After coming out that's based on a Harry Styles fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
You know of it?
I've read the fan fiction, at least part of it. I read the first. I was hardcore into the One Direction fandom, so I was around when this like first came up, in the whole like punk Harry Styles thing.
Oh my god!
I wasn't personally into like the punk 1D thing, but I was part of the Wonder. I wrote my own fan fiction actually. So fun fact.
Is that on what.net or Wattpad?
No, I wrote it on Tumblr. And I didn't write any like it wasn't like a full story. It was just like one shot, so little like blurbs, like little short stories basically, kind of based off one prompt. I kind of read it back and I'm like, this actually isn't too terrible. Like
it's not like
kind of embarrassing, but I've seen worse. Not to like toot my own horn, but
I feel like if you ever need to feel better about your writing or anything like that, just go onto Wattpad, find My Immortal, and you'll be good. You've heard of My Immortal?
I think so.
Yeah. Special. It's very special.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. Hopefully stay tuned for an eventual another live stream, hopefully.
We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we don't read anything, or at least we read something that's like worth ranting about, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's like the biggest insult is when you're like, well, this book wasn't even worth ranting about.
Yeah.
So, well.
Sad.
All right. I guess that's the end. Bye, guys.
Right. Thank you for joining us. And go check out Star's channel. It's in the description. She's really cool. And yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.